Oh, I guess that's better. People can actually hear me now. The volume's on. Sorry about that. We actually don't have a quorum tonight. However, since we're not taking any action, we can still push forward with the meeting since it's for discussion only. So we will move down. Is there anyone here for public comment? No one signed up on the sheet, so we're good to go there. So we will move down to new business, discussion of the fiscal year 2027 general fund budget. And I will turn it over to Tracy.
All right.
Could I just interject first, just for anyone watching, just to elaborate, anyone watching at home, it's not as common for Elkins City Council to do a work session, which is what this is. You'll often see it in other cities where they have less of a committee process. But in our ongoing efforts to have more visibility into the budget process, purpose of this is just to discuss the budget as recommended by the Finance Committee. No intention to take action tonight. And as things are currently scheduled, the full council would look at the budget for possible approval at its regular meeting next Thursday.
Correct.
But again, this is just kind of an open discussion for council members to learn some more about what's on the table.
And for clarification purposes, yes. Yes. So I'll turn it over to our city treasurer, Ms. Tracy Judy.
Thank you. So we've been working on this budget for several weeks now. We are projected the revenues for fiscal year 27 of $6,453,371, with the carryover amount projected at $686,183. And then that would bring us to our total budget with the expenditures of $7,139,554. In your packet, you should have the breakdown of revenues and expenditures by department and line item by line item. You also have the capital program for the next 5 years. The general fund current debt. Let's see, and there's going to be some changes that I'd like to talk about regarding parks, fire department, municipal court, how those play into the budget, as well as health insurance cost. Our three main revenue sources are B&O taxes, the county property tax, and sales tax. That is crucial for providing the services that the city does for its citizens. Indirect cost are costs from other funds outside of the general fund that they pay to cover expenses, such as part of the mayor's department. In my department, it's accounts payable, the ladies that take cash collections, and in human resources and payroll. So those funds pay the general fund to do that work for them. With parks, they have not seen an increase in 5 years in their contributions. So we are needing to fund them, and we are funding them in addition to their hotel tax. The total funding for them will go up $40,000. For fire, they have not seen any type of an increase in the fees that have been charged since 2015. Costs have gone through the roof. We all know the effects of COVID. So the general fund is going to have to, at least for this year, be sustaining them somewhat. That is not budgeted in this budget. It will be taking out a financial stabilization account in the future. So, anybody have any questions with that to start off with?
Just regarding the fire department, how their costs exceed the fire fee. Did you say an amount roughly for this year? I just didn't know if you said an amount.
Probably $300,000. The cost will exceed what the revenues are coming in right now.
And those revenues are roughly fire fee revenues.
Approximately $900,000, give or take either way.
Because I think everyone remembers when the fire fee was put in place in 2015, it was designed to cover what was then the annual budget of the fire department.
Correct.
So it's not surprising 15 years later with no change that's not enough. So I just wanted to.
Sure, absolutely. You want to go department by department, general fund, in case anybody has any questions?
I think we should.
Okay. All right, so as I said about the revenues, property tax, business and occupation tax, and sales tax are our three main sources of revenues. If we would ever lose one of those, it would really hurt the city and the services that we could provide. So if we go into the first department for expenditures, it's state grants. And this is what we use for demolitions. So providing we still are able to get state funding, then there are ongoing demolition. There's a list of those properties, and that's where those properties would be paid from the state grants.
And that's separate from the other
From the other
demolition, yeah.
Yes, because the other demolition would be if the general fund is funding it.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
it's just, it's an easier way to keep track of those to provide to the auditors. Then you have the mayor's budget. Basically, it's personnel expenses. IT is budgeted in there as a part-time position. And then just basically travel, retirement, training and education, dues and subscriptions, supplies and materials. Any questions on that? Okay. City council, pretty well straightforward. It's just their salaries, the expenses, travel, training, not a whole lot in there, $100,910. In the treasurer's department, it is at $340,200. Outside of the salary and the fringe benefits, we're looking at the contracted services of $20,000. That's a company that we contract with that goes out and tries to find businesses who are doing work and have not gotten a license or paid B&Os. And if they find these businesses, they go back 5 years and get those paid to the city. The first 3 years, that company receives 50% of those revenues. After that, the city gets 100% of those revenues. This has been a varied program that we've been part of, I believe, since 2018. Any questions regarding that?
Tracy, just looking back at the kind of the mayor, council, treasurer, clerk, just kind of looking back, is there, did stuff shift around from in 2022 or 2023? Because it looks like some of those years, the costs are like a lot more and then a lot less the next year, or just kind of curious.
So like in the mayor's budget, this coming year, we're going to be budgeting this IT position in-house. So that's why that one has gone up. So you're looking at that.
The longer, like the long view.
Let's see here.
I'm trying to find
Where it was more.
yeah. I feel like there was one I saw where it was less than was, anyways, yeah.
You're looking at this one?
Yeah,
Okay, for 5
5-year
years.
history.
yeah.
Okay, so for the treasurer's department, in 2022, it was at 164,498.
I see
We had, I'd have to go back and really look at the
or I guess maybe with like,
deeds.
was the 2023 like the jump in healthcare cost, and would the healthcare cost be reflected there too?
Healthcare costs are reflected in every year budget because we have taken
Yeah.
a big increase on that, and wages have gone up as well.
Okay,
And when wages go up, retirement goes up, FICA goes up, workers' comp goes up.
and those employee wages are reflected in that, the benefits would
Yes,
be, okay.
yes, everything is reflected in that. All right, any other questions for the treasurer's department? All right, city clerk, Mr. Stokes, could you talk about that?
Yes, the amount that you see the total for the department is up. The overall total of about $277,000 is up $25,000 or 10% since last year. Or since the current budget year. And those are the bulk of that cost, or one of the biggest single chunk of that is there was about a $10,000 increase in compensation that happened partway through the year with the $1 an hour pay raise. And the remaining 12 or 15,000 is just basically due to I'm really trying to do a better job estimating on the front end. We found ourselves making more use of GIS services from Region 7. And I'd like to do even more of that. Once again, that's something we're doing instead of having a full-time GIS technician employee. They really give a great service. So that's just projecting, allowing room for increased use of that. We started buying the music licenses once again, whether we get anywhere with the downtown sound system in the short term. Kind of further review indicated we really need to have those in place for the Phil Gaynor Center for any music they may use for rentals and programs here. So those are about $1,200 a year. I'm trying to build out a little more training within the department, and then of course just allowing for rising prices of supplies. We do have a good reasonable size supplies budget, simply because in addition to just basic office supplies, it's often my department that's taking on supplies for career fairs or posters for departments for, when we put up things like the mission statements, things like that. So hopefully we won't need all of that, but that's some of what that consists of.
Any
questions on that?
Okay. Next would be the municipal judge, which is our court. The change in that this year, normally there is a court clerk budgeted in there. We are not able to do that this year. So that position is going to be absorbed with a general fund employee. We never expect revenues in municipal court to cover the cost. However, revenues are greatly down. And we would like to see it cover most of the judge's cost, at least wages and the benefits, but it's just not there this year. So I met with the judge. She and I talked about, went over her budget, discussed line by line, and I said there's no way we can do the court clerk for 25 hours a week. So that was a decision that we have made. Any questions about that?
I think it's very difficult for us to be able to gather or collect the fines when people don't pay. We have no leverage to do that, to be honest with you. And that leverage was taken away from us a few years ago. So if people don't pay their fines, we're kind of out.
Yeah, and I think there's some other things that can be looked at. Not sure why over the last 2 to 3 years, revenues have fallen as drastically as they have, but we'll need to look into that some more. So any questions regarding municipal court? All right, then you have the city attorney, $75,000 for that. Our city auditor, $26,000, and that's for doing the financials and the independent audits. I'm going to skip past contribution to authorities and entities till we talk about outside organizations. Of course, as Mr. Carroll said, the demolition expense is going to be zero because the general fund's not funding any of that. Other grants is a line item we had, I believe this year or last year. It will not be, nothing will be in there at this point in time. Custodial for $185,000. Mr. Kessler.
Yeah, so basically you will see an increase for the custodial budget we moved it up to $185,000. Of course, salary and total compensation package weighs into that a little bit with the cost of the healthcare and the raise that was given earlier. But the bulk of this this increase is simply because I want to purchase a piece of equipment for the custodial department. I'd like to get a side-by-side with a plow on it so we can better serve the parking lot at City Hall and the police department parking lot and the sidewalks around City Hall. We've estimated that cost to be between $25,000 and $28,000 completely set up, ready to go. The reason behind this, right now, we utilize the street department a lot to clear off the City Hall parking lot. And when they're in the parking lot, they're not on the streets. So now ultimately, if we get 2.5, 3 feet of snow, then we do have to bring the heavy equipment in. That's a total game changer. But even on snows of 4 or 5 inches, we're utilizing the street department to come over, which takes them off the streets and off, much more important areas than City Hall parking lot. If we get this side by side, we can do that. And then it can be moved throughout town as well to work on smaller areas that maybe the trucks can't get to. And it just seems like the custodial department will be the ones to maintain that and keep it up and do the work at the parking lot. So that's why there was the increase there for that piece of equipment.
Mike, will this be a smaller blade to help navigate the
Yes.
islands?
Yes,
Because I know
because right now we have the
8-foot
tool
blades
cap.
are-
Well, I talked to Sean, it's actually a 9-foot blade.
Oh,
So yeah,
Yeah.
we've got to go smaller than that. We're thinking like a 6-foot blade, something
Right.
smaller. So, and it's a piece of city equipment, so it can go anywhere in the city we need it to go. But the primary use for that would obviously be City Hall parking lot, police department parking lot, that side of the building, and the sidewalks around the building. We just think it's a wise investment, and it keeps our street department from spending time in a parking lot as opposed to being out on the streets working. So that was the increase, the bulk of the increase in that department.
Any questions? All right, next you have the Regional Development Authority, which is Region 7. The $7,974 is what we have paid annually. It's an annual due, I would say. Then you have the Building Inspector for $90,600.
This was an increase of around $3,000. The basic increase for this, I'll go ahead and set this. Everything was increased because of salary and the compensation package, obviously. So that way we don't have to keep repeating that. But on this, our code enforcement officer has expressed the concern to me. She currently has a small Jeep that she drives, and when we have to board up buildings, do things of that nature, she has no way to haul the materials, so we have to get someone from a different department to haul the materials. So the $3,000 increase would cover a lease truck payment for her that she could haul tools and equipment in it. And to help offset the cost of that slightly, the police department has expressed the interest in purchasing the Jeep that she currently drives off of us, so they can use it for, I think, parking enforcement, things of that nature. So it kind of helps offset the cost of that. But I just think for our code enforcement officer, when he or she needs to go out to location and board up buildings or inspect buildings, and now Jesse even does asbestos testing for her. So there's all kinds of safety equipment that she might need, much more worker friendly if she had a small truck of some sort. We're not talking like an F-250 or anything like that. We're thinking an F-150, very basic model, but room for her to keep stuff in and things of that nature. So that was the increase in that department.
Also, Mike, from a safety perspective, if she's wearing Tyvek and has to take it off
Absolutely.
after she leaves
Throw it
the
in the
job
bed of the
site,
truck
she
or
throws it in the bed
something.
of the truck instead of inside with her.
Yeah, and then because if she throws it in the Jeep, she's smelling that the whole way until she can get to the
Or
park.
contaminates the inside of her vehicle.
Absolutely.
So yes.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's a wise investment in that department as well. And again, that's why the increase in that department.
Okay, Planning and Zoning. Sutton, you want to talk about that?
We have a possibility of hitting this year or next year, just concluding the contract with WVU for the support in the updated the comprehensive plan. So that's basically what that would cover is final payment to the law clinic and a public event of some kind to present the plan, get public input.
Okay, elections is $16,700.
We'll have an election in 2027. That's a pretty standard amount. I think it might be couple $100 higher than last year just to cover a few things that weren't budgeted for last time, but it is what it is. There's a set amount to pay the poll workers. You have to have a certain number of them each polling place, so it's pretty fixed.
Okay, then you have City Hall. Budgeted in City Hall are the utilities, which is a huge cost. We also budget the liability insurance and workers' comp for all the general fund employees and the properties. The computer software would be the total of the Encode software that my office uses for billings, accounts payable, cash collections. HR uses it for payroll, and then you also have the HRIS system. All of that is the general fund's cost, but other funds contribute to that as well. The HVAC payment is a annual payment of $54,200. That is fixed right now. And then the capital outlay equipment is the City Hall project, and it's budgeted at $252,000 right now for the 4.1 million. So that totals $588,200. Any questions there? Okay, nothing in transfer to other funds. And then we come down to Public Works.
Public Works is pretty cut and dry. That is just myself, Melody and Shanna. It increased slightly. The only increase in it is simply due to salary and wages and the compensation package. So that we didn't do anything else there. I may have bumped up training and education, I think, by $500 from last year. Simply, we're doing the Go skills now, and then if we can get some off-site training to further their skills, I would like to do that for each of them as well. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward budget. No major increases there whatsoever.
And as Mike mentioned, it's he and two other employees. Those employees are paid 75% out of the general fund, 25% out of sanitation.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing in contingencies. The police department, their budget is $2,100,800. Of course, you have the wage increases in that. You have overtime at $285,000. Automobile supplies, that is the fuel cost for the vehicles. And the capital outlay equipment, they are in the process of rolling over their vehicles. And because the upfitting is delayed, and I know Chief Bennett is working on trying to close that gap, but until that vehicle is completely upfitted and in the possession of the police department, and then the one that it's replacing goes back to Enterprise, until it is sold, we still pay that monthly payment on that. So there's a lag there.
And there's definitely a big backlog for upfitters. There's a lot of people doing it right now, so.
And I believe he said that they're looking at trying to do some of that work in-house possibly.
They are. They actually, we have one officer that's gonna start absorbing some of that himself, and that will help reduce the lag time.
Good. I can ask if there's any questions, but don't know how much I can answer other than what I've told you. Then you have the police admin. That basically is budgeting for the dispatcher and the parking attendant.
Oh, actually, Tracy, you might know this. On the street cameras item, is that an ongoing cost in the future, or is that just money that's like being spent from the initial federal fund?
I'm thinking he just maybe puts some funds in there to, as needed for maybe if something needs to be replaced. Okay. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that though. The Dog Warden Humane Society, the supplies and materials, that's for animal disposal. The animal control contributions, we'll talk about that with the outside contributions. Then you have Randolph County EMS, there's nothing there. Flood control.
Flood control, we cut from last year's budget $10,000 out of that, simply because flood control is a dual effort between Public Works and the general fund and the water department. And if you look at our 5-year history, we haven't needed the full amount, basically because it's piggybacked with each other. So we cut it down to 37,000 and feel confident we can still accomplish the goals of what we need to do with the Army Corps engineers and what they require us to do with that amount. So we're comfortable with that right now.
Street department?
And the street department. Okay, that one went up substantially. However, let me pull up my spreadsheet here. I'm trying to bounce between two things. I apologize. The main purpose, the main expenditures on the street department for the increase is, we have a couple trucks we need to replace. We want to purchase outright the F-550 dump truck. We want to purchase it outright so we own it. We have one truck we need to replace, and we would like to purchase another F-250, put a blade on it to give us another truck to plow with so we can better serve the citizens with plowing. But the bulk of the increase for the street department, we are in desperate need of a roof on our garage. We own the building now. It's paid off, correct, Tracy?
That is correct.
It is our building. And what I don't want to see happen is if we continue to kick the can down the road and not fix the roof, are we going to be looking at another city hall project of millions of dollars as opposed to a roof that we think we could do, for $175,000. So that's part of the increase there. I'll be getting a little bit ahead of myself when I say this, but I did not absorb the entire cost of the street garage roof in the street department budget because the central garage is there as well. So I took a smaller portion out of their budget to help offset some of the costs. So the street department budget isn't paying 100% of the roof costs. They're probably paying 75 to 80% of the roof costs. And that's pretty much it. With that budget, we are still, with the increase and with the additional equipment, we feel confident we can still do the same amount of paving that we did this year. We can do the same amount of paving next year. We can continue to pave the same amount of streets. So we're not cutting any services out. We're just trying to make some things more efficient when it comes to snow removal, replace a truck that's given us fits that we're constantly putting money into, and then obviously take care of the property we own, meaning the building.
Mike, do we have any idea how much asphalt's going to go up this year? What percentage?
We don't have that information yet. Sean has reached out to them.
Because I know that's a killer.
And every year, and we're really holding our breath this year. With the way prices are going up right now, we're really holding our breath right now. With the understanding, our goal is to pave as much as we have in the past. If the prices go up, we might have to cut a couple streets, That's just, unfortunately, that's the economic nature of the business. So, as we get those numbers in, Mayor, I'll definitely relay that in the meeting and inform everyone. But right now, the plan is to continue to do as much as we have in the past, and we hope we can.
Mike, is the roof of the garage, is that what's reflected on the maintenance of buildings and grounds, or is it in the capital outlay?
Tracy,
I think it's in the maintenance of buildings
Maintenance
and
of
grounds.
buildings and grounds.
Yes.
Yeah, 185, that was maintenance of buildings and grounds, yes. Yep.
All right, any other questions?
And again, what we're looking to do there is get us something that's good for 20 years, so someone else can worry about it in 20, get it going and give them a good place to work so they're not setting buckets out and catching leaks.
Well, that just leads to other deterioration throughout the building.
100%, but we're experiencing it firsthand right now. Yep, absolutely.
All right, the next is streetlights. It's budgeted for 140,000. Signs and signals, 20,000.
20,000, and we based that off of just the past expenditures when we looked at the spreadsheet to see what we've been averaging spending. So that's what we based that off of.
Snow removal for 25,000.
And that's basically hold our breath that the price of salt doesn't go up.
Yeah.
Just like blacktop, there's so many variables with the street department. It's really hard sometimes to, it's almost like you're throwing a dart and you're really hoping this is the number we had last year. We're hoping this is the number we have this year. And we hope we don't get 4 different snows of 3 feet. And then, obviously that affects the budget. But we felt confident that 25,000 has worked in the past, and we feel like that continues to be. And we'll have some salt left over that we can carry over into next year as well, hopefully.
Mike, how much do we spend yearly to replace barricades that people bust up and run through? I mean, Do we have a ballpark on that? Because, I mean, I think the public needs to know that.
I don't have a ballpark on dollar signs, but I can tell you alone during the Forest Festival, it's not uncommon to replace 25 to 30 barricades. I can get you a price on that, but and that's just that.
Just kind of curious.
That's just that week
Right.
alone. That doesn't take the other 51 weeks out of the year. That's just that week alone. You know, people just, I guess they don't value their cars. They just drive right through them sometimes. It's crazy. And the bad thing about it is you put a dollar sign on it, but it's also a safety issue.
It is,
Because we
absolutely.
put barricades up because we have people working in that area, or we have something, there might be a sinkhole in that area, there's a barricade up for a reason. Please don't drive through it. Please don't tamper with it because it's there for your safety. And literally during Forest Festival week, it just makes me scratch my head that we have to replace so many barricades.
Well, 2 years ago at the Blue Christmas celebration, we saw somebody bust through one and you couldn't salvage any of it. They
Oh,
hit
no.
it so hard, it exploded.
Oftentimes, that's the case. They bust through them so hard, it's like, throw it away, build another
You
one.
couldn't salvage any of it.
You know, we build them in-house to save
Right.
costs from trying to buy something, but, you know, it does get expensive. It really
Mike,
does.
is that in the signs and signals? Is that where those, or would it
No, that
come
would
out
be
of?
supplies and materials for a street department.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that comes out of the street department budget. I'm reminded that by the supervisor of street department all the time.
Yeah.
I just kind of wonder, because I know we go through a lot.
I can get you that number. More of the number I get is like how many.
Right.
But I can get you the number because we'd have to factor in how much time it takes a guy to build one and things of that nature. But yeah, we go through them. We absolutely do.
Thank you.
All right, central garage, $211,600.
Again, the increase there, if you look at, I'm trying to read here real quick, Tracy.
Buildings, equipment.
Buildings,
rents.
equipments and rents, we placed it there. That is to cover, central garage portion of the new roof at the Baxter Street garage. That's where the increase comes out of that. Other than that, just minimal things. And feel confident that that requested amount would be suffice.
All right, then Airport Authority will be part of the outside contributions as well as public transit. Recycling at $5,500. Health Department contribution will be part of the outside contribution discussion. Storm sewer,
Storm sewer, I requested to increase it by 25,000 simply because we've been making a lot of positive strides in the storm sewer repairs. And what we had been doing is just taking a street department employee, sending them out and their wages just get paid for it. I would really like to have a storm sewer fund. So when we go out there, we can draw those funds out of that and we can actually show people what we're spending to repair the storm sewers, to maintain them, to inspect them, things of that nature. So that's why I did request to increase it by 25,000 simply because I think it's a really important service that the city provides. And I think if you go to Diamond Street right now and talk to the citizens up and down that street, they are all very grateful of what we have accomplished up there with minimal funds. So to get a little more funds in there, we can do more for people. And we know that Lower Oak Grove is one of those areas we have to go hit and we need the funds to do it. So this is the way we're doing it.
all right, then the parks contribution, as I mentioned earlier, is going up 400,000 and we'll discuss a little bit more of that. 40,000, I'm sorry, thank you, sorry. Parks would be going, yay! Sorry. But we'll talk about that when we get the outside contributions and the hotel tax breakdown. And that's where the Depot Welcome Center for 162.5 comes into play. And that's 50% of the hotel tax that we're required by law to provide them. Field Gainer Center, I met with the manager there. We're looking at $134,600. He only has, right now, 2 items on his plate that he'd like to see taken care of in the next budget year, potentially doing some work to the back parking lot back here, and replacing a couple doors that he anticipates will be around $2,000 here. Historic Landmarks Commission, we'll save that till later.
Well, Tracy, one more on the Phil Gander. So the employee salaries for Phil Gaynor, are those in parks?
Those are in parks,
Okay.
yes. Mhm.
Cool.
And I believe Tom Tessar, the director, said that they have 4 positions now that they
Yeah,
do the wages.
there's four full-time year-round employees.
And then I think he said 2 that would be like from March to October, April to October.
Seasonal.
We have, I think, 2 seasonal that'll be from March to October, and then your
Summer
summer
employees.
employees.
Okay. Historic landmarks will be later. Civic promotions, it's basically $1 per capita. So we have $6,934. Sutton, would you like to explain what those funds can be used for?
Basically, all cities have a limit under state law as to how much money they can spend, according to state law, to advertise the city outside, to outside visitors or something like that. And under state law, it's $0.25 per person. And under home rule authority, Elkins expanded that to $1 a person. So the dollar amount's just based on the per capita or the number of people in the most recent census. And so it's I think it's a little ambiguous, everything that can be used for, but it does seem as though if you read state law one way, it kind of says that's an upper limit on what you can spend to advertise the city. I'm not sure if that's something that's really strictly enforced, but I think that's the first thing that you're supposed to consider using it for.
All right, and then library contributions, we'll discuss that a little bit later. Beautification at $30,000.
Yes, that is basically your flower contract that we do throughout town. I can tell you we budgeted 30,000, but it will be less than that. I'm positive of that. The reason being, we're making some changes at some of the type of baskets that they're using throughout town. And in long term, those baskets will last us longer and help reduce costs as we move forward. And we did make the decision, the city hall parking lot, we're gonna maintain it throughout the summer. We're not gonna beautify it. We're gonna maintain it because we're gonna have equipment in and out of there all summer long. The goal is, once the city hall project is finished, and we get close to Forest Festival, we'll do something to spruce it up and make it look nice for Forest Festival. So a lot of the cost that's associated for the entire year for that part of the beautification project won't be taking place. It'll just be like a minimal amount. So, be prepared. City Hall parking lot's not gonna have flowers blooming all summer long, and because they're gonna get damaged most likely. I mean, they're just going to. People walk through them, construction workers carrying stuff, they're gonna walk through them, it's gonna happen. So we just felt it was money well spent to wait and do something nice before the Forest Festival in the parking lot.
All right, and then you have the Human Resource Department at $169,400. And that brings your total expenditures to $7,139,554. So in the presentation that I provided, at the very beginning of it, it talks about the Consumer Price Index for over a 5-year period. It's going up 22.5%. That not only affects residents, but it affects the city. It affects the cost of materials. We're seeing everything going up just as everybody else is. Making the best effort we can to spend the dollars wisely. You want to go into outside contributions?
Are there any other questions on topic A? If not, then yes, we will go down to B, discussion of requested outside contributions for fiscal year 2027.
Do you want to take that sentence?
Well, this is a part of the budget that ends up getting a lot of attention every year. We receive applications from organizations that they get referred to as outside contributions, partner contributions, community organizations. The core of them really are public agencies, or nonprofits that do provide services of one kind or another. And then there are a few that put on events and do that sort of thing. And the committee did look through those on Monday, and with the funds available, made the recommendations that you see in the sheet there in front of you. If you look at this, you'll see the list of organizations all the way to the left. That first white column that says FY 2026 is what the council awarded for the current fiscal year that we're in. The gray column is what the organizations applied for the upcoming year that you're working on right now. And you see the difference with blue indicating where they had requested more. And then that first green column, FY 2027 total funding recommended by Finance Committee. Those are the recommended amounts.
If I could interject for 1 second, I think we've done it slightly different this year. After Tracy went through the department budgets, she had a number that she was more comfortable with, that she was able to provide the Finance Committee, and said, this is basically what we have for outside contributions. In the past, we just kind of, went through everything. I'm not sure we had a set amount that we felt comfortable with. I think this year, I feel more comfortable because I know how much money we have left.
Right.
So I think it's actually a better avenue for us, to be honest with you. So thank you for that.
And it's a really important point because it's the total funding recommended for these organizations this year is about 60-ish thousand less than they were awarded in the current year. But you're looking at an amount that if you wanted to come up with more, it would have to come from somewhere else. And that's what budgeting obviously involves, these trade-offs. It's not possible to just grow what we think the revenues will be arbitrarily. And so it is really important, and it's obviously it leads to some tough choices. But so those are the amounts you see there. A number of them, and I would just point out, every year, of course, organizations apply for more money. If you don't ask, you don't get it. I think most of the ones that have been doing this for a while realize they often don't get those increases. There's not more historical years here, but a lot of these organizations are pretty accustomed to flat amounts from the city over multiple years, and I'm sure they're glad to get it. And so that is the case for, I'd say, the majority of the organizations on the list. So yeah, do you have any questions?
And Tracy, do you want to
Members of the
explain how
finance-
we've changed a little bit? We're not actually giving the money to them. It's either reimbursements or paying invoices, correct?
Right, so the way we've been doing it this current fiscal year and in the past, we've given quarterly contributions to whatever the amounts are, have been decided by council. We are changing in fiscal year 27. We will be paying the bills. So organizations will be submitting either receipts for reimbursements of detailed receipts, or sending an invoice in to me, and then we will get that paid
And that was recommended for.
by the state auditor's office, yes.
Now with the EMS, they didn't do a presentation to us this year, but the Intermountain article, they did a presentation to the county. So they have significant,
Yes.
decrease. And so the county's looking at their request to implement a fee. Is that?
I think based on the
That's
Intermountain
what the
reporting,
Intermountain
that's how I
Intermountain
understand.
reported.
Either an amusement tax or an ambulance fee.
Okay.
And what the paper reported was that they're $1 million short.
Right.
I did notify the director of EMS about this. He did not seem surprised or ruffled by it. I mean, I think he recognizes, and he said he's working on his plans.
Okay.
And I think the other thing that we need to remember when we're looking, obviously, at our budgets or even the outside contributions, we're going to have to be propping up the fire department. And those are emergency services, as well as they provide not only in city, but outside of city limits as well, as they're required to.
So your guys' thought, thinking on finance, was that just there's so much change there that it makes sense to.
And it's a county ambulance.
Yeah, it's not
I mean,
it's not an Elkins,
Right.
it's a county-wide service, so the county needs to,
Ante up more.
yeah.
Fair enough.
And the state legislature, I don't know where that
They are
is, but
discussing
we're
that
also
as well.
are looking at trying to help EMS throughout the state as well.
Well, this has been an issue throughout the state. It's not just locally. I mean, a lot of actually EMSs have shut down. I
Right.
mean, correct, Steve, throughout the state. So your state legislature has had to, I mean, they've been forced to address it this term, so this session. So they are talking about it. I'm not sure the latest status of it, but we'll hear that on Friday, I'm sure, so.
I believe the one bill that was proposed passed one chamber, but I don't,
Pretty easily, I think, too.
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
pretty quickly.
yes.
So there's a lot of moving pieces there that are causing that shortfall and, you know, and the issues across the board.
Anybody want to discuss anything else on outside contributions or?
I was curious
Got any
about the airport authority change.
So the city, I can let you know, the city pays 50% is required to pay 50% of the insurance costs. We
Okay.
do that. That ranges anywhere usually from 17 to 24,000. We have 1 year that's high amount, and then the next 2 years are a little bit lower. So we're required to do that. We do that. That is budgeted under City Hall. It is not budgeted here. So anything that would have been budgeted there is an additional contribution.
So we would still pay that.
Yes, we're
Right.
required to,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Interesting, I didn't know that, yeah.
Any other thoughts or questions?
I'm sure the our town fireworks is
Mhm.
because of the 250th that they needed extra. Is that what that was about?
No, it's actually the price of fireworks that going up.
Just that, but I mean, won't they be putting off even more though with this?
But I think they did say they were expanding their
They're hoping
budget
to,
with the
yeah.
bigger shed.
Right,
But I'm sure
yeah.
it's expanded costs.
I mean, the
too.
past couple of years, I mean, they really went above and beyond, I feel.
I just didn't know if they were gonna-
Exceptional job. So
Do extra for this year? That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
they also said the prices are going up like everything else too, so.
Right.
And we knew this was coming.
Right.
I think it's a total cost of 12,000, right?
That's what I mentioned in the
Yeah.
application. And I would flag the Country Roads Transit. You had a council saw a presentation from the
Yeah.
director. It sounded like, one, the local contributions are matched. And I don't even know, is it 1-for-1 or 2-for-1? I almost,
It was 1 for
think it's
1. but I
just
could be
1 for
wrong.
1.
I think so.
but the amounts that are contributed by local governments are matched or are needed to match similar dollar amount from federal grants that they get. And you did talk about wanting to expand services.
Well, I think that's the part that got me, so willingness to be open longer, basically, if you can, after hours.
Yeah.
And
I was-
in weekends, if they could get enough funding, so.
And that, I think she was identifying as, playing into enabling people to travel to jobs and that kind of
Right.
ripple effect.
Yeah.
So
It's worth it. And then on the warming station, is the thought that the way that's going is gonna change or just,
So since the funding wasn't used,
oh,
it'll
okay,
just carry over.
oh,
yeah,
okay.
they kind of had a unique way it was funded a year ago.
Mhm.
And it's just kind of conceptually there for them to draw down the way we signed the MOU with.
As they need it.
But
Oh,
they have
cool.
yet to make a single drawdown, so.
We had, and this past winter, we've had several cash donations. We had about triple that come in donations.
That's a good deal.
So,
Plus you had the food and the
plus,
supplies. Yeah,
right, I mean, that's not counting
Yeah.
food and supplies. that
Yeah, wow.
donated.
they had a lot of that because
Yeah,
my husband and I took things down and I was
yeah.
pleasantly surprised to see
Right.
everybody that
Right.
donated things. That was great.
Are there any other questions regarding the outside contributions?
I guess while we were thinking about organizations we give to that are able to leverage our dollars for matching funds, are there any other ones that we know of that, I'm just kind of curious on like the quality of our contribution, if anywhere else that we're putting funds to that they're using that to leverage more resources elsewhere?
The CAC and Humane Society,
Yeah, cool.
and if you had to hire those positions,
Yeah.
it'd be a lot more than what we donate.
And I believe the Historic Landmarks Commission, although what they applied for was specifically tied to projects. They also have some funding they've been rolling over in the bank that they're able to, I remember them describing, they play a kind of missing piece role with certain kinds of grants that people are able to apply to the federal government for historic preservation. So there is a way in which they're enabling some of that would be tougher to bring the different pieces together with the cycle of contractor bills against the much slower cycle of federal grants, as I understand it.
And I will say, as far as the tree board, not part of their contribution, but they do apply for grants. They've been getting grants on a regular basis over the last several years, and their match is usually in kind service, so.
Yeah.
leaf cleanup as well.
Any other questions? Well, since this is for discussion only, we're not taking any action, I can say going once, going twice, meeting adjourned.
Sorry.
Huh?
Oh, back on, okay, sorry.
We have an alibi right now, Tracy's actually gonna go back and talk about health insurance.
Yeah, sorry. Mike and I attended a Teams meeting today. As I had mentioned before, at a council meeting or two, I had requested a health insurance quote. And we were on that meeting for a little over an hour, and it
Well,
was
you went on a
very,
little longer because my internet went down and I couldn't get back on by the time I got back when it was over. But it was a very interesting meeting.
yeah,
It was
and
very interesting.
very interesting cost. It's a bit overwhelming, so I'm going to ask Mr. Hinchman, since he has knows about that stuff, and I'm going to send him everything we were provided to take a look at it. It is the same that Elkins Mountain School has, and I'm going to reach out to their HR person sometime this week as well. But it's something to look at. And I did, Mayor, at the finance meeting, I think it was, you wanted to know if we left PEIA, we would not be able to go back to them as of right now, the way code reads. So
I will say,
You say that's the case, we would not be able to go back.
that's correct.
That's correct.
I will say, Tracy and I were having a brief discussion before the meeting started today, and both of her and I were both on the same thought process, just looking at the spreadsheet that was provided to us prior to the meeting, like, there's no way.
Mhm.
But about 35 minutes into it, I'm sitting there like, oh, hold on a second.
Mhm.
And I think maybe sending it to Mr. Henchman to let him review it and see his thoughts as well, because when she got to a certain part, and I'm not ashamed to admit this, but when she got to a certain part of the slideshow, it was all going over my head. I was like, I don't understand what those tidbits are.
Mhm.
But it was definitely something I think we need to look into and give people a chance to discuss, because she presented it very well and some of the numbers weren't all that dramatic. So, just, it's something, it's an option and it's a discussion that we can have. I think that's better than just being our hands tied to one entity and just take what you get. So, yeah, Tracy, thanks for letting me sit in on that. And I thought it was very, very informative, very informative.
So it's like optimistic health insurance news?
Pardon?
Optimistic health insurance news, perhaps?
It can be. Now, it's a self-insured plan, so that's, but there were two different companies, each had four different proposals.
Yes.
One was similar to a high deductible plan like we have now, but then the other one that she went over with us is back to the co-pays. Yeah, it's definitely something to look at.
I think the word I would use to describe it was far more competitive than what I thought it was going to be. So,
Yeah.
something to definitely have that discussion about.
Because we know health insurance costs every year has gone up, in some years more drastic than others with PEIA. So, anyway, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
You can adjourn now.
Okay, once again. Please do me a favor, be safe going home.